Welcome, everyone. We've gathered some really fascinating material today, and we're excited to dig into it with you.
That's right.
Today, we're looking at Arviell Simmons. He's someone working right at the intersection of AI, art, and, the whole human experience side of things in our digital world.
Yeah, a really interesting mix.
We've got articles covering his projects, his ideas, and some professional background info.
And our goal here is really to unpack what makes Simmons' work tick. How does he connect these fields, art and tech, that seem so different?
Right.
What's the vision behind his push for more empathetic AI, and how does his interest in digital culture fit in? We're hoping for some of those aha moments.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's start with who Arviell Simmons is. He founded Harmonic Sentience. The name itself suggests something about feeling, connection, and maybe surprisingly, he also calls himself a revolutionary of visual language through his platform, Drawviell.
So right off the bat, you see this isn't your typical tech founder profile. He's got this artistic side really prominent.
Exactly. And his background seems pretty diverse, too. There are hints he might have worked as a procedural engineer.
Yeah, which points to someone who understands systems from the ground up. Possibly systems integration, UX design too, making tech usable, intuitive,
Make sense?
and maybe even managerial roles.
Yeah.
So leading projects, it feels like this technical foundation when you mix it with that artistic sensibility. Well, that's a pretty unusual combination.
A potent mix, yeah. Probably feeds directly into his current work, especially with AI systems that need to relate to people.
Absolutely. It feels like that blend is the key.
So let's get into Harmonic Sentience then. That's his R&D organization, right? Focused
Exactly.
on human-centric AI.
Exactly. Human-centric. The idea isn't just smarter AI, but AI that understands and interacts with us more like, well, humans do.
Okay.
Their big vision statement talks about bridging emotion, creativity, and learning. Yeah. And the end goal seems to be creating AI companions.
Companions, interesting.
And they call themselves a research incubator, which I think highlights their approach. They've got cognitive scientists, narrative designers, engineers, even ethicists on board.
Wow, that's quite a team. Shows they're thinking broadly about the impact.
Definitely a holistic view.
So a core part of their work is this resonance core technology.
Yeah.
Sounds complex. What is that, really?
Well, the key thing is it's meant to be different from standard neural networks that just learn from data dumps or rule-based systems that are, very rigid.
Okay, so it's a different approach.
Yeah, it tries to integrate symbolic reasoning, letting the AI grasp abstract ideas with affective computing.
Affective computing, that's the emotion part.
That's the emotion part, yeah. How AI reads and responds to human feelings. And they add something called pattern harmonization. So think about it like this. Maybe you tell an AI agent, I'm feeling down. A resonance core system wouldn't just register the words. It might link it to, say, the topic you were just discussing, or maybe a change in how you're interacting, and then respond in a way that's not just correct, but actually emotionally appropriate, tuned in.
Right, so it gets the context, not just the text. That does sound like a step up for natural interaction.
Could be, yeah.
And then there's this other framework they mention, Symphonics. The name alone suggests harmony, complexity.
It does. And Symphonics is maybe the biggest picture part of his vision. It's even been floated as a potential relational theory of everything.
Whoa, okay. That's ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Yeah.
But the core idea seems to be that intelligence, real system coherence, doesn't come from top-down control. It emerges from, dynamic interactions between parts. Adaptive resonance, they call it.
Resonance again.
Right. Uses music analogies, which I think helps. Think of polyphony in music, multiple independent melodies working together, or harmony different notes creating a pleasing whole.
Okay, I can see that.
So it suggests how maybe multiple AI agents could collaborate smoothly, making the whole system more flexible and robust, like an orchestra playing together, rather than just a single instrument following orders.
That's a great analogy. Moving away from command and control AI towards more of an ecosystem model.
Precisely. More collaborative, more emergent.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to his art side. Drawviell. He's not just a tech guy, he's a professional artist, even a meme historian.
Yeah, Drawviell is fascinating. It's his online gallery, his blog. You find comics, memes, NFTs. It's quite a mix.
A meme historian, what does that even mean?
Right. It suggests he's really looking closely at internet culture, how visual language evolves online, how memes spread ideas and shape communication. His title, Revolutionary Visual Language, kind of ties into that. He sees visuals as incredibly important now.
And he's into NFTs and crypto and the metaverse too, not just making art, but engaging with the whole digital ownership thing.
Exactly. He seems to see NFTs not just as, things to collect, but as a real medium. For art, sure, but also for building communities online, maybe even preserving digital culture.
So a forward-looking view on how these new tools are changing things.
Definitely seems that way. He's thinking about the structure, the community, the culture around the tech.
Okay, so we've got this deep tech side with AI and this creative cultural side with Drawviell. How do they connect? Is there a synergy we can see?
I think there has to be. This is where it gets really interesting, right? His understanding of visual storytelling, from making comics, from thinking about memes, that almost certainly shapes how he thinks about AI.
How so?
Well, think about resonance and harmony in that Symphonics framework. Those are artistic concepts too, aren't they? Narrative principles. It suggests he wants AI that isn't just logical, but maybe feels more intuitive, more engaging, like a good story or a piece of art that clicks with you.
Ah, I see. Applying principles of communication, of art, to how AI should function and interact, making it resonate, basically.
It's exactly. Clarity, resonance, maybe even emotional connection.
And you mentioned earlier this might even help with AI hallucinations. Those times AI just makes stuff up.
Well, that's a potential link people might draw. The idea could be that if you structure AI responses more like a coherent narrative with better context awareness, maybe you can make it less likely to just go off the rails and generate nonsense.
So using creative structures to keep the AI grounded.
Sort of, yeah. Grounded in context in a consistent flow. It's a really novel way to think about tackling a big AI problem, bringing insights from, well, art and narrative.
It really underlines how interdisciplinary he is. He's pulling from so many different places.
Absolutely. You've got AI, cognitive science, software architecture, UX design, then visual arts, musicology, ethics.
Yeah.
Maybe philosophy with that relational theory idea.
The toolkit.
And it seems like it's that blend, that synthesis, that lets him come up with things like resonance core and symphonics. He's aiming for a richer kind of intelligence by combining these perspectives.
Okay, now, something that seemed a little different was his writing about things like affiliate marketing or freelance sites like Fiverr. How does that fit in?
It might seem like a detour, but you could see it as reflecting a kind of commitment to access, maybe democratizing opportunity.
How do you mean?
By giving advice on platforms like Medium, Fiverr, Rakuten. Those are relatively low-barrier ways for people to get into the digital economy. So while he's working on cutting-edge AI, he's also maybe thinking about how more people can participate online now.
Interesting perspective. Concern for the future of AI, but also the practicalities of digital work today.
Could be. It paints a broader picture than just the high-tech stuff.
Okay, let's talk about the Ultra Institute. He worked there as an R&D specialist for a few years.
That's right. From late 2021 to the end of 2024. The Ultra Institute is a New York think tank founded by Brett Johnson and Mariam Azarm.
And their focus is?
Their stated mission is tackling big global challenges through collaboration. They do things like attend Davos, work on climate tech, the Ukraine project.
Yeah.
Humanitarian goals, basically.
So Simmons was likely brought in for his tech expertise, applying it to those kinds of problems.
This is logical, yeah. Exploring tech solutions for their initiatives.
But the relationship didn't end well. He's been critical publicly.
Yes. That's a significant part of the story we found. Simmons has written about his experience quite critically. One piece was called The Ultra Illusion. He's made allegations about broken promises, issues with payment for work he did.
Wow. That definitely clashes with the image of an organization focused on altruism and collaboration.
It does. It presents a stark contrast between the public mission and his alleged personal experience there.
So, any idea why he might have gotten involved initially, beyond just the job title, any shared ground?
Well, looking broadly, both Simmons and the Ultra Institute are interested in technology's potential. Ultra looks at AI for global issues. Simmons, through Harmonic Sentience, focuses on AI for well-being, education, companionship.
Which could overlap with humanitarian aims.
Right. There's a thematic overlap, definitely. Applying tech for positive impact.
Yeah.
So you can see how there might have been an initial alignment of interests, even if the actual working relationship reportedly ran into problems.
It's a complex situation. Someone deep in tech innovation having a really negative experience with a group aiming for positive global impact.
It certainly adds another layer to his story.
And Simmons seems pretty vocal online, sharing his thoughts.
Oh yeah, he's active. On LinkedIn, his handles Tech Werfus and on Threads as at Harmonic Sentience.
What kinds of things does he post about?
Pretty specific stuff, actually. AI hallucinations come up that accuracy problem. He also critiques tech industry practices sometimes and gets into AI ethics discussions. Seems very engaged in the current debates.
And there was mention of a case study about him.
Right, apparently a video called Big Band Model, Conductor's Redux, mentions an Arviell Simmons case study in its description. So it suggests his specific approach, maybe Symphonics, is starting to get noticed and analyzed by others in the field.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've looked at Arviell Simmons from a few angles. He's this really unique figure, isn't he? Blending serious AI work with a real artistic cultural sensibility.
Definitely. Harmonic Sentience is pushing for this more empathetic, human-like AI with resonance core and symphonics.
While Drawviell shows his deep dive into visual language, memes, digital culture.
And he's not afraid to be critical, whether it's about the tech industry generally or specific experiences like with the Ultra Institute.
It's a compelling mix. Art, tech, ethics, culture, all feeding into this vision for technology that's more connected to us.
A very humanistic vision, ultimately driven by technology.
So here's something for you, our listener, to think about. Simmons pulls from fields like art and musicology for AI. What other areas, maybe ones that seem totally unrelated, could actually give us fresh ideas for the future of AI and how we interact with it?
That's a great question. Or maybe think about the Ultra Institute part of his story. What does that tell us about the real challenges, the friction, in trying to make these big altruistic tech visions actually work ethically and practically out in the world?
Lots to chew on there. We definitely encourage you to check out his work on Drawviell, and you can find his thoughts on LinkedIn and Threads too.
Yeah, worth a look.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.